My policy that I would like to change or amend at this point would be the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, because this is the most common act that is used when trying to prosecute cybercrime. The legal system is now matched for the sophisticated cybercrimes and threats that we are experiencing at this time. Uh, Computer fraud, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act has been amended several times, and they're trying to keep up with the advances of technology. However, certain terms do not have a precise or direct meaning, which leaves the nation up to more open to more liability in cybercrimes and threats due to this issue. For an example, in the first clause it mentions authorized access. What does authorized access truly mean? Does this mean that the law could apply to someone breaking into a machine, or an employee who is using the employee's computer for personal use? What is truly defined by authorized access? The term too too broad. It needs to be defined in order to help prosecute certain cyber crimes, as well as help to define certain cyber crimes and threats and attacks. Many courts have interpreted the term differently, which is causing a split decision. The statute does need to be amended so it's not so broad, and so that each levels of the courts can be on the same accord. We need to eliminate overly confusing terms and provisions, and simplify the act so that the sentencing and penalties for the cybercrime or threat is taken seriously, and it will reflect uh, the, the severity of what has been presented to us in court. Um, there are also different state and federal laws that carry a min and a maximum penalty, meaning that if someone created fraud by hacking, they could possibly face up to 5 years in prison, while other federal fraud crimes could cause someone to serve up to 20 years in prison for hacking. So there needs to be a defined or definition of these terms in the statute so that sentencing guidelines and maximums and minimums can be met. The punishment needs to fit the crime, and the statute needs to help guide attorneys and prosecutors when they're in the courtroom. This goes hand in hand with the Patriot Act, meaning that if everyone knows what to expect when they look at a statute or law when they're going into court, then they'll be able to share information and know the levels and the types of crimes that we will be combating in court, whether they're if it's a terrorist attack or if it's someone hacking into banks using telephones um, or a computer, for example, of hacking information from bank users using getting their passwords and their usernames in order to gather personal information for personal gain. So it really it really needs to be more of a defined statute in order to work together with other agencies to prosecute these criminals that are uh, hacking and using certain tools to gather information from other individuals for their own personal use. So that is what I would like to do in order to help the United States prosecute more cyber crimes and attacks.